Hey guys, Keno Robotics here. So in my last video, I talked about how to program your EV3 motors using RobotC. And in this week's video, I will be sharing with you what I've learned on how to program the EV3 Touch Sensor in RobotC. So I will still be using this robot in the previous video for the touch sensor examples. So basically in RobotC, there are two main modes to the touch sensor. It's the touch mode and the bump mode. Okay, I will show you some video examples that I've come up with. Basically, there are 4 of them. Let's look at a short video footage on how you can use the touch sensor for your robot. Let's have a look at the codes for the first example where you use the touch sensor to start a program. Okay, so as usual, you configure your sensors and your motors. Okay, and in the main task, I use a while loop to check for the touch sensor value. So if the touch sensor is not pressed, it will do nothing. And once it is pressed, it will set the motor speed at half power and move the robot forward for 2 seconds and end the program. In the second example, I use the touch sensor to make the robot keep moving forward until the touch sensor is pressed. Once it is pressed, the robot will reverse and turn before continuing to move in a straight direction again. So in this program, the main task has an infinite while loop. Okay, in the second while loop, it checks for the touch sensor value, and as long as it is not pressed, the robot keeps moving forward. And if the robot detects an obstacle and touches the touch sensor, the robot will stop for half a second, reverse for 1 second, turn right for 1 second, and continue moving forward again until it bumps into an obstacle. In the third example, I use the touch sensor to change the color of the LED on the EV3 brake. So here's the code, and there is one infinite while loop. If the touch sensor is being pressed, it will turn the LED color to red color, and it will display pressed on the LCD screen. And if it is not pressed, it will change the LED color back to green and display on the screen, telling the user that it is not pressed. And this loop will continue, go on forever. Remember in the beginning of the video, I mentioned there are basically 2 modes to the touch sensor. One is the touch mode, and the second one is the bump mode. So in the fourth example, I'm using the bump value of the touch sensor in order to keep count of how many times the user has pressed onto the touch sensor. So in the main task, I've define a variable called bump count and initialize it to 0. And the second line here resets the bump value to 0. So every time whenever I start a program, the reset bump value will be reset to 0. Okay, and next we have an infinite while loop. Okay, if the touch sensor is being touched, the get bump value of the touch sensor will be stored into the bump count variable and will be displayed on the screen. Well, that's it for this week's video. I hope the examples I've shown you just now will help you in your own projects and how to code the touch sensor in RobotC. If you find my video useful, press the like button and remember to subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.